so we'll go straight onto the main card, and we ain't going to mess around. So let's get the shot up for you. Okay, all right. Tyson Pedro versus
crap there, doesn't he?
He looked a bad shot.
Looked quite good on the night. This is like they woke him up after, I don't know, a stag do or something. It's terrible.
Where's Harry the Hurricane Hunsucker? I suppose it was a good fight. I suppose, right?
It wasn't really, as in it wasn't a good fight. There wasn't a fight, so to speak. But it was, it was, if you like, it was over quickly, which is, and it had a, knockout finish, kind of a TKO finish, which obviously is exciting for a lot of people. So in that regard, I guess it was all right, wasn't it?
Do you think the first, proper punch that Hunsucker took where he did a crease face, do you remember it? He kind of made him step back. He sort of went, and got done by it before the knockout, right?
Yeah.
The bit that made him back up. In a way, even though he showed, right, and I looked at him and went, oof, he's really reacted to that. I still think he took it good, as in he didn't shy away, duck away, run off. It was a natural reaction, but he still stayed in there, and he's got done. But is this Pedro good?
I think he is good. Yeah,
looks quite good, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think he is good. The Hunsucker, I think this was his first fight at light heavy, right? Because he's for Tuivasa and stuff like that. I think he's had a bit of a nasty introduction. Let's have a quick look. I think he's had, Tyson Pedro, obviously light heavyweight. He's also fought Justin Tafa and Tai Tuivasa. So,
he's fighting all these tattooed New Zealand.
Like it. They seem to be giving him all the, all these rock hard dudes from Oceania or wherever. So bit nasty, but he got some toes to the gut, and that was all she wrote.
That's right. That's right. That was good. That front kick.
Yeah, I think he's good, Pedro. I don't know.
Good.
I don't know what else you want me to say about it. Do you want me to just chat crap for
perfect spot after a decent punch? It's good. He showed what else do we want him to do? He dealt with it, didn't he? So I agree. I think he's good. So we don't need to worry about chats about that fight now. We can move on to the next one, can't we? Because all right. Okay.
Don't need to worry about chats about this one either, do we?
Well, I mean, you wanted to chat about some elbows, so we will. Wu Mulan Yanan versus Lucy Pudilova. And I'm with you. It's kind of like, well, all right, so what? But I picked up you wanted to have a chat about the elbows, and I don't blame you, by the way.
Looks to me like Pudilova was out with Hunsucker.
Pudilova was out.
Yeah, remember I said his photo looked like he'd been out on a stag do.
Oh.
Yeah, it looks like Pudilova was with him.
Didn't she? She looks a bit drawn, but didn't she have like all cut lip and all that in all the chats and everything as well?
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I'm sure it had a smashed in lip doing chats and all that. Well, she's a fighter.
Yeah, you'd expect some damage. I thought her elbows were brilliant.
So did I.
I thought she got this girl in a position and showed killer instinct and basically just went, I'm finishing this now. And honestly, I don't think there's many people that would have been able to... Look, I know there's lots of people that would not have maybe been in that vulnerable situation to have those elbows thrown like that on them. Say if you're talking about, say, one of the top fighters in the division. But I thought when she got in that position, there's not many people who can deal with that, in her division. I think she absolutely basically just went to town with those elbows, went, I'm going to drive your face through. I mean, showed real killer instinct, to throw elbows that powerful. Luckily, that Wu actually did cover up. Because if she didn't, if she ate one of those full-blooded, she'd have been out, with a sliced open face and everything. So they were really, really, I have to say, quite impressive. Rest of the fight wasn't, but when she got that opportunity, brilliant.
I agree. I was also like, well, look, crap woman fight, but I can't deny it. These Pudilova elbows were brilliant. She dealt with it. She went hell for leather. I liked it. The only elbows that I've seen, I tell you what it reminded me of. They ain't exactly the same, but it did bring me back to that fight with John Jones and that massive fella, where he got him in a crucifix and just went bang, 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 and done absolutely loads of the fastest elbows I've ever seen. We do know the bloke, but I can't remember his name right now. The only elbows that from memory, that I believe I've seen that smashed Pudilovas, this guy that you didn't see. I'm telling you now, mate, they were absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So we had 2 fights there with absolutely brilliant powers, ground and pound elbows. And they were good, yeah. So fair play, Pudilova, dealing with it.
Impressive, yeah. I've just gone on to look at John Jones to see who that was, those elbows.
I don't want to know. You need to.
Well, I'll give you a clue. But I swear the picture, it might be him at a wedding or something like that. But this picture they've used of him on Wikipedia could well be him appearing in court. He's like in a real smart suit. It's like, couldn't they have just had a shot of him fighting rather than picking a crap one where he's, like I say, it might be his wedding for all I know.
Well, there's more shots of him appearing in court than there is fights.
Yeah, but he's brilliant.
I know he is, yeah. Right, let's have a clue on the name. I know the bloke.
Okay, let me just confirm for me, it weren't Chael Sonnen, was it?
No. He was a big Russian-y sort of bloke.
Oh, well. You sure?
Towards the beginning of the UFC career. Maybe 3-4 fights in.
Obviously, the best elbow he threw was against when Matt Hamill beat him.
That was good, and the spinning one against Bonner was wicked.
Was it? I'm just going to the dentist. I'm pretty sure his nickname's the dentist.
Is that his nickname? What Stuart bloke? He ain't.
No.
Jones.
Vladimir Matyushenko.
Matyushenko. That's it. Yeah, that fight.
I said it because you would never have remembered that.
I wouldn't have, right? But you know when Roy Nelson got, I think it might have been Kimbo or whatever on Ultimate Fighter, he got him in the crucifix. He used to get blokes in the crucifix, and it was just those, and he'd done spam punches. You remember? Yeah. And it was just like, look, I'll do these all day long. You'll have to stop it because no one's moving. Whereas John Jones, when he got in that crucifix, you have to step in. There's, I mean, it was just like a load of little knives going down. It was good. They weren't like these other 2 elbows. They were more short and sharp,
Yeah, that's right.
And
that's the thing there. This Pudilova was managing to get, her whole body weight into it because she was in such a dominant position. They were really, really, I mean, I watched them and I was like, they are really good elbows. I mean, that was pretty impressive, I have to say. So
brilliant bit of Pudilova.
Yep.
Next fight. Disappointing. Big disappointment, this fight. My all-time best. One of my all-time bests. Not getting in there and smash. But to be fair, Merab, he didn't have a smash either, did he? Aldo versus Merab, the Machine, Davashvili. I was expecting a bit more of a smash up here, and that happened. No,
well, I wasn't expecting that. It kind of went how I thought it would go. It's kind of went how if you remember, we did a brief chat about it, and I said that I had a feeling it could go this way, where the cardio could prove to be the deciding factor in this fight. Now, someone might say it wasn't, right? It was Merab's pressure, it was his clinch game, stuff like that. But to me, Aldo's fighting within himself a little bit because of the threat of the takedown, and also because, honestly, round 3, he did look drained.
He did, but Merab didn't take takedowns.
Amazing. Still fought him off, still couldn't get him down. But
no takedowns,
Yeah, but it just didn't look like he had enough to put a combination together that would win the fight. And it was really frustrating because I was kind of watching it going, you've got to let your hands go. I think he only ripped to the body once in the whole fight.
Yeah, I remember it, yeah.
Yeah, and so...
Even Merab done a bit of a nod at that punch as well, as if to say, good one. So he threw maybe one or two kicks. That one punch.
And when he landed, it looked significant when he landed those kicks. They buckled Merab.
Yeah.
He couldn't get enough offense going. It's kind of went how I was worried it would go down. I said to you that I think if you don't knock him out, if it goes to decision, it's going to be a Merab win because he's just going to
on the flip
outwork.
side, Merab didn't do him either. As in, I know he won, but what I mean is he didn't throw overhand rights and drag him to the floor like we thought might happen either. He didn't take advantage of the rubbish cardio or anything.
Well, I didn't expect Merab to actually get him down. I didn't expect him to get him down because Aldo cannot be taken down.
He's a machine.
He's like, he cannot be. No, well, Aldo is like, he's a machine, right? Can't be taken
You can't
down.
get him down. Yeah, I've seen that way.
And so I did think there would be a hell of a lot of clinching, which what happened, right? And it was good without Aldo doing the, when he was kneeing his thigh and stuff like that. And I loved that bit. But then after it sort of, I'd seen about 2, 3, 4 minutes of the clinching and the knees, I kind of went, look, it's all well and good doing, but you have to get busy because those knees are the only thing happening. I know they're not much. I know they're not substantial, but they're the only thing to be judged. They even said that on the commentary, right? They said, I think something like Merab is the only doing things that to be judged. There was no output from Aldo. So he can stand there and go, all he wants, but it's the only thing that's racking up points. You don't get points for going, you know what I mean? So it was frustrating. It was a frustrating fight to watch because Aldo is obviously amazing, but it was just when I saw that fight, even it being announced, I was like, it's a terrible fight for Aldo. That I think Aldo would stand a better chance against Aljamain, for example, than Merab. I just went, it's a bad matchup. A tough guy, good chin, non-stop cardio, pursues the takedowns relentlessly. I was just like, this is not the matchup for Aldo. It's just not. It's just really bad matchup. And
but didn't after watching it, didn't you think he could have won? I mean, he's definitely good enough. Could have done it.
I think he could have won it. I think he could have won it when I was watching him, and it happened a little bit with the Leon Edwards fight that we're going to come on to. In some of the rounds 2, 3, and 4, when he was standing in front of me, I was saying, throw something. I'm not saying overcommit to shots. I'm not saying throw a 4-punch combo. Whack out a jab. He's got a good jab, Aldo. Throw a jab. Give the guy something to at least deal with. But he wasn't. He was kind of just doing his like this over and over again. I was like, get that jab going. Okay, he might shoot under it, but you're kind of expecting that. And Aldo's got such amazing timing that if he did do something like that, there was once where he almost landed a knee, right, where I think Merab went in.
Actually, a couple of the knees were good. Yeah.
And it's like so. At least if you're throwing a jab, you're giving him something to respond to. He might shoot in underneath, and there might be an opportunity for a knee to land. Even if he takes you down and he puts you on your back, you're amazing at getting back up. But even if you end up on your back, you end up on your back. But you ain't going to win this fight if you just walk forward doing, looking like Sagat from Street Fighter.
Yeah, I did like that Thai boxing stance. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so right. Yeah, I mean, it looked great, but not for 15 minutes. It was a frustrating point. I mean, it looked like when the decision was read out that Aldo thought he might have got that, done enough to win, which he didn't. He simply didn't. I wish he did, but he didn't. I wish I could sit here and go, no, Aldo won that fight really, but the scoring criteria don't favour him. Something he didn't. He didn't do it. Didn't do enough. Didn't do anything, hardly.
No. 2 knees, 1 body shot, maybe 1 or 2 leg kicks. I can't think of it.
You can't win a fight for that. Even if that's all that landed on the feet and the rest was just knees up against the cage, I'd still go, well, Merab has to win it for cage control for like 13 minutes and landed all those knees, even though they're pathetic and not going to do any damage. They do hurt when you dig a kneecap into a thigh, but
100%. Yeah,
these are strong guys. Yeah, they can handle it. So, but yeah, really frustrating fight to watch is the truth. But
it was, yeah.
I knew it was
something to score, and as you say, there was nothing to score. So from Merab, you got to give someone a reason to win, ain't you? And he did more. So what do you want to do? I mean, it wasn't very good. I don't know why. I'd have to ask Aldo, but I'll ask him tomorrow when I see him.
All
right. Right, next one. I mean, all I'm going to say.
Shit fight.
Oh, right. Is that sarcasm or real?
No, sarcasm. I love this fight. I know you're going to go, I hated it. It's like, so you like Luis Saldana, but you hated this fight. What are you talking about? This fight was amazing. I loved it.
Rubbish fight, right?
I loved it.
Look at the top here.
All the way through. Brilliant.
Fight of the night, right?
100%.
Terrible fight. I have no idea why anybody liked this fight. I do know why some people liked it, don't get me wrong. But I was watching this going, God, this fight is crap. Neither of them look like they know how to fight. Neither of them have any breath to speak of. Zero cardio from both blokes, which means their skills were terrible. Honestly, I really hated this fight. I was like, this fight is crap. I don't know what going on about. This is the best fight. And then when I saw it was fight of the night, I'm like, what's happening here? This was crap. You got a bloke with his hand on his knees after 2 seconds. Crap. And then you got a bloke with his hands on his knees, right? So you got Rockhold literally going, I can't fight anymore. And Paulo Costa going, well, so what? Don't worry about it. He did nothing about it. Punch him in the face, kick him in the face, do something. He did nothing. A rubbish fight. This was such a rubbish fight. Useless, both of them. I tell you what, don't know what's going on with Costa. I like that bloke a lot.
They're not useless, right? Let's just be clear. We actually think both these guys are wicked. Right?
Skills amazing. Are both amazing, and I didn't see any of their skills because neither of them could breathe properly. Rubbish. Right, but now there was all the chat about the Salt Lake City stuff and the attitude.
Exactly. Yeah.
This is a bad cold performance by these blokes, in my opinion, because you literally had a bloke who was a punch bag, and the other bloke going, "Yeah, but I can't punch or kick either, so I'm not going to do nothing about it." I didn't like it.
If you think about this fight card, right, you would go Lusa or Angelusa versus Fletcher, or Fletcher gassed out, right? Bad.
Now I tell you what. Hold on, right? Because you didn't see all of them, right? Hang on. I'll tell you what. We'll do this version for you, right? Hang on. Here we go. Right.
Both of these guys struggled cardio-wise. I mean, Fletcher was basically dead in round 3. Next. Woodson seemed to have no punch resistance, and honestly, Saldana after round 1,
he had no breath,
no damage. Yeah, he had no. That's the only reason he didn't win that fight, because he ran out of cardio. Next. Well, Santos has always got bad breath, but he had really bad breath. Right, next.
Heavyweight.
Yeah. Both crap anyway, breath-wise, probably because they're heavyweight. But yeah, they both struggled as well, right? Next.
But particularly Romanov.
Yeah, I thought Tybura done all right.
Considering he had a bloke laying on him. Yeah.
I thought he recovered well after round 1, but still not the most active. Next. Only lasted 3 seconds. Next. Okay, I think they seem to handle it okay.
Yeah, I saw no effect on these two.
Yeah, these two seem to be all right. Next, so women are brilliant.
No breath, both of them.
Aldo, but we kind of expect Aldo to have no breath. So next, only in round 3 as well. But next, and then obviously these two, no breath.
The worst.
So let's be fair, and these are not guys. Rockhold is always in amazing shape. Rockhold has got cardio. He has done, championship fights and stuff like that, right? Costa, if you think of the fights against stuff like Romero, he's got like amazing work rate in the cage, right? He's not someone who steals breaks, who pins people up against the fence and just does knees to the thigh. He ain't that guy. He is a battering ram. He's not, and he struggled, right? So
I know.
What I'm saying is I'm going to cut these guys some slack, because I do think that altitude stuff is, he said on the broadcast, right? Cormier said, Kane, cardio for days, fought Fabrizio Verdun at altitude and just was gone after 1 round, right? If your body ain't used to it, I can totally understand why you basically just get smashed. Now they said, I can't remember, they said someone arrived a week beforehand to acclimatise. I think it was Leon Edwards, a week or 2 beforehand. To me, I went, 2 weeks. I went, that's not long enough. He should have done his whole training camp there, in my opinion. Might not be able to afford it. I'm just saying, perfect preparation would be to do your whole training camp there. Because imagine you go there for 2 weeks before, and you train there after about 4 days. You're going, bloody hell, I can only hit pads for 3 rounds and I'm effed. How is that not going to affect your psychology going into the fight? At least if you go 3 months in advance, you might go, bloody hell, man, this is really hard. After 2 rounds, I'm effed. And then you can at least try and rectify that over the next month or 2. So I think going 2 weeks beforehand, it wasn't good preparation, but that's for the main event. These guys don't usually have problems with cardio. They did this time. I'm going to put that down to, in Rockhold's case, age, inactivity, injuries, and altitude. For Costa, I'll give him an excuse that he's probably down in a bottle of wine the night beforehand. And looking at how, in what amazing condition he was in, he was probably having a threesome or something like that as well, right? So
he did look, he looked good.
He looked amazing, right? So, but I love this fight because a few things. I thought the story was brilliant. By the end, it made me go, oh man, Rockhold, I really liked him. I liked he couldn't speak again, by the way. They said, one of the best post-fight speeches, and I was like, it weren't. He didn't even finish a sentence again. He couldn't even finish a sentence. Has that guy ever finished a sentence? But I liked the sincerity of it. I liked how upset he was to be leaving the sport behind. He looked genuinely like, mortified that part of his life was over.
Well, I like that bit.
Yeah, the crowd, gave him a wicked cheer out. And let's be honest, he's not been the most popular, fan-friendly fighter in the sport. Not his actual fights. His fights are always wicked, but personality-wise, he's not really been a popular fighter with fans. But everybody cheered him. I think that fight was the perfect. Outside of him, I actually think that fight was, the way it went was a better fight for him to go out on than if he'd have just say head kick KO'd Costa in the first round, because it kind of showed
because it's memorable,
his character, all that sort of stuff. So it was it was like a perfect send off for him. I kind of like the fact that he had that little moment of defiance at the end, that even though he got battered and proper battered, I mean, he looked like a granddad. He's like a model, but after about 3 minutes, he looked like a granddad, all like this throughout the whole fight. But for the last 20 seconds, he had that moment of defiance where he wiped his face, blood all over Costa's face. There's the wicked bit where he says something like, F you to Costa.
And then threw a punch.
Right hand. And actually caught him. I was just like, this fight has got, is it technically brilliant? No, of course not. Those guys were shattered. And I was looking at it, the way Rockhold was, as you say, he was gone after about 3 minutes, right? And he was circling off to his left the whole time. And not once did Costa throw a right hook for Rockhold to go into. Not once. He just let him circle out each time. And I was like, what? And I was watching it going, you do know that you could get done by Rockhold. So Rockhold was still landing good strikes. And so for me, the fight was still exciting. I was like watching it round 3 going, Rockhold could still turn this round. He could still land.
Yeah, was like one punch every, one punch around.
They were landing, and a few of them seemed to do a little bit, Costa, I think, has got a great chin, but a few of those punches kind of rocked him. And I just thought that at the end, I thought it was just perfect that the young Lions still won, but the old guy still got an amazing send-off. If you like, to me, that was a little bit of a, when Chuck Liddell started losing, that I became a bigger fan of him. And for me, that was a little bit like the Rockhold thing, this adversity, coming through that adversity, the bit at the end, the defiance, the FU. I just went, brilliant. Rockhold's brilliant. And I didn't think that going into the fight.
I was going to say, we liked him anyway when it came to
fight. But not this much.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, I just thought it was a terrible performance.
But you're looking at it, right, just from a, I'm going to watch this as a, if you like, a MMA purist or enthusiast, and look at it and go, I mean, some of these kicks were wicked, right? Rockhold's got wicked kicks, but, you're looking at it from a point of view of why don't these guys have better cardio and stuff like that? But if you remove all that, but if you remove all that and you just look at kind of almost like, I know I hate this when people like Helwani say it, but the storyline of it. I was just
it's fine to have a story.
And I don't know if you've seen it. There's a clip where Rockhold comes out the cage and Cormier goes over and gives him a hug.
Not seen it.
Okay, right. Well, he goes, walks off after Rockhold, and he kind of grabs him on the shoulder. And Rockhold don't know who it is, and he turns around, and when he sees it's Cormier, he does he does his face twists into absolute pain and anguish, because he kind of looks at him, and Cormier gives him a kiss, and he gives Cormier a kiss back, but his face is all twisted because he knows it's over for me as well now. It's over for me. You're finished, you're retired, you're doing commentary. It's over for me now. And I just, for a guy who was bashing the UFC, I mean, even he was bashing the UFC before the fight, but then even at the end he went, thanks Dana. I think, did he say Dana White? But he definitely said thanks UFC. I just thought, you know what, brilliant. It just made me do a bit of I always liked Rockhold, not the chat, but the fights. And it just made me go, maybe I quite like the bloke and all. Even though I know this is just, the best.
It was my favourite bloke, Rockhold. The blood's in the face. I like the bit at the end where he just went, like you say, he couldn't finish a sentence and he just went, I'm old. It's it's brilliant.
Yeah.
All that I liked, but the fight, I just went, this is crap. If you've got no breath, what's his name? Paulo Costa got no breath, and why couldn't he fight either? He was crap and all. This isn't a me smashing in Rockhold, it's me smashing in the fight, going, what is this fight? I just went, what is this? Yeah, it was entertaining in its own way, but there was such lack of anything. I remember Rockhold threw about 3 or 4 body kicks in a row, and I went, brilliant, and Costa's like, yeah, so what? He's like, I'll have another one then. He's like, yeah, what about another one and another one? He had some moments where I went, yeah, brilliant, but they were so few and far between, and I just don't understand why a bloke can put his hands on his knees and the other bloke go, well, I can't even make it over to you. Forget it, can't be bothered. And to me, it's like, that's just made me go, what's happened to these blokes? Because I saw they're both really good fighters, and I just saw no skills. I just saw 2 blokes going, I can't handle this. And I understand with Rocco because he is old and injured and smashed in and all that. And I did love that chat where he was just saying things, can't handle it, can't do it no more. I'm old. It's like, this is brilliant. He can barely, he can't chat about it. He can't express himself. Are you okay to talk? Yes. Yeah. I ain't, but I'll have a chat then,
I love that. It's like, are you okay to talk? And even before he answered, I went, Rockhold, of course he's not. He can't.
He doesn't do chats.
He can't finish a sentence. And then obviously he went, yeah. And then they went over and they asked him a question. He said something, and then he just went, F. He said the F word, didn't he? I was just like, say he's not all right to talk then. Say he was like this.
Yeah.
Up against the cage. And I was like, he ain't all right to talk. I'm glad they did talk to him because
it's brilliant.
I even actually sent that clip of him rubbing the blood in that guy's face and the interview. I sent it to someone who's not even into MMA, and I actually sent it to him and said, this is why I love this sport. Now, I know that might seem weird to some people, like, well, you like seeing people rub blood in other people's faces. It's like, it's not. For me, it was the whole story of that fight. And for Rockhold, it was almost like that was his Rocky moment. He couldn't have wrote it better for him. I think it was, like I say, to me, it was better than a win. It was better than if he just went out there and booted his head off in 10 seconds. It showed his, I think it endeared people to him. It showed his character, everything. Look, I know you hated it. I won't go on about it because I've already gone on about it for ages. I loved it.
Yeah.
I can't believe earlier you're going, Saldana, fantastic.
Brilliant.
You get this right, F you, bang, and all that, and you're going, crap. It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Not. So much more happened in the Saldanas, right? But not all the Saldana was good. And don't forget, you didn't have anybody saying that it's the best fight ever and it's fight of the night. You didn't have anyone doing that. And that added to it to me because I'm listening to this commentary. I've seen loads of the stuff afterwards and I'm going, what's happening? Even at the time, I was watching this fight going, this fight's crap. So, and I don't disagree with anything you've said, but I still thought it was a crap fight. I was sitting there really confused going, this is crap. Yeah, it's endearing. Yes, I like to see people that go through, fight through the fire and show their determination, their courage, their grit. They both had that, but I have no idea why they needed it because the adversary on the other side of them was doing nothing. So you're fighting through what? Someone throwing nothing at you. You're fighting through what? A bloke with his hands on his knees. You're not fighting through nothing. Beat him up then. It's like, well, I can't because I'm fighting through adversity. Why? Did Rockhold beat you up? No. I just can't breathe properly, or I can't walk, or I can't throw punches and kicks. And it's Rockhold. He's like, hands on his knees. Like, what's happened then? Has he been wrestling you? Has he been grappling you? Has he been hitting you? No, he's not hit me at all. So what have you got your hands on your knees for? That's what I didn't like.
To be fair, Costa, I thought it was a surprising decision to follow Rockhold down to the mat early on. And I thought he was brilliant on the mat, Costa. Really held his own, done a lot of damage. Now, the rest of Costa's game, I think, seems to have suffered the last few fights. I remember, when we were really high on him and really excited about him, he used to be like a juggernaut, right? He used to go in there, pin people against the fence and just go, and just smash them. Whereas he seems to have lost that now. He seems to be walking into people with his hands by his hips. I don't know why. I don't know why he thinks that's a good idea now. Walking in with his hands by his hips. And he just doesn't seem to have that lethal, booming punch power that he had.
Yeah, he's just going to do like you say, all the swinging up.
And he just don't seem to have that, anymore. For some reason, I don't know if he's sort of just changed his style or what, but if he has, I think it's for the worse. But I do think he done good when he went to the ground. Considering Rockhold is a bit of a, an elite sort of fighter on the mat. So I thought Costa done good first round, but then it did turn a bit sloppy for the last 2 rounds. But to me, it was sloppy in a good way.
All right, okay.
Sloppy in a good way. So
Well, good,
I loved it. Brilliant Rockhold. Costa as well was brilliant. I thought when the final bell went, I thought there might be a bit of afters or a bit of bad blood, and there wasn't. They were kind of all right and respectful of each other, but not being over the top. Like Aldo and Moran put down that. We've got to talk about that. What about that brilliant bit of Joe Rogan where they're sharing a private moment? Rogan just slips the microphone up in between. Yeah, how rude is that? That's so rude.
It was crap, but then they went, well, we ain't doing chats now. We've done our chats. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Didn't give him nothing, did they?
Yeah.
Quite good.
They did. Rockhold and Costa didn't go that far. They didn't sort of go, okay, well, now we're best buddies. Because there was a bit of needle beforehand, but they done enough to be respectful and good to each other. And I really did enjoy it. Loved it.
There's nothing wrong with enjoying it. I was a little confused, but I do still get why people. I did say I get why people like it. It's the same as there'll be fights that I really like that people will go, "What crap!" Like Travis Brown and Verdum. I love that fight, right? I bet you it ain't a fight that a lot of people remember or like.
Well, how about your all-time favorite, Anderson Silva, Damian Maia? Everyone hates that fight, but it's one of your favorites ever.
Right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Talk about nothing happening, and then your favorite fight is
good. No, but that wasn't nothing happening because Anderson Silva, didn't have the energy to throw stuff. Mentally, he might not have had the energy to throw stuff. Anyway, we don't want to chat about that fight, right? But that's what I'm saying. It's understandable that people have different opinions. It's just that seemed to be a widely. Everyone loved it. But I was sitting there going, what's happened? And I thought, well, he won't like it. When I chat to him, he'll go, cool, yeah, I don't understand it. It was crap. And that's why I thought, I've got to check. Is that sarcasm? He was like, no, I loved it. I was like, oh, no, another one. Another one. Yeah, but listen, fair enough. But when it was Fight of the Night, I was thinking, Fight of the Night is crap.
No,
terrible.
It's one
Zero
of
skills.
I would genuinely go.
Hub fight. And there is someone. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to say that. I can't believe I'm going to say it, but now I've remembered. I'm going to have to say it. Jake Paul. He agrees with me. He said it was crap.
Oh,
right?
Well, you're in bad company then.
I know. I know. He went. Finally, though, I had someone where I went right. Someone said it's crap. He'll have his reasons, right? But he said it's crap because it was a glorified street fight, and I thought, oh look, I don't want to be agreeing with that bloke, but yeah, it weren't very good.
But so what? Sometimes that sport does descend into that, right?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Normally, a street fight has striking, as action. There's no action.
Well, anyway, we'll have to agree to disagree. I loved it. You can.
There weren't a fight.
You can do the podcast. Do the podcast with Jake Paul in future. I'll get a lot more views.
Maybe you can do a podcast with me. How about that way round?
No,
right. There was no fight. There wasn't a fight. Crap.
Well, listen, I'm not saying that it's a fight that I would say to people, go back and rewatch, this display of mixed martial arts brilliance, right? It's not one of those. But honestly, I'd say it's one of my favourite kind of UFC moments. When people do those sort of top 10 lists of, favourite UFC moments, might be, when Frank Mir broke Nogira's arm or whatever, all these different things, or I can't think of anything else right now off the top of my head, but that will be one of them. It's just like I really enjoyed it. I don't, I'm not.
Well, that's
I've already
good.
gone on about it too much.
That's the main thing. You really enjoyed it. That's good, right? That's a good thing. It got Fight of the Night and everything. It's good. Loads of people really enjoyed it. I'm not even saying I was annoyed. I was just watching it, going, "What is this crap fight?" But a fight where I would say, it became a little bit street fighty, but still had martial arts skill in it and had weird moments was Rory McDonald and Robbie Lawler, they're facing each other, spitting the bloods down and all that. To me, that was good because it's still, it had the, and the other one, is it Robbie? What's the other one with Carlos Condit? Is that another Robbie Lawler or is that McDonald? Both hanging off the cage at the end.
Robbie Lawler as well when it going into the last round.
Right, those fights to me, they still have the skill, they still had to go for adversity and blah, 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 but there was a lot more happening, This nothing was happening. Anyway, we'll move on because even though it got Fight of the Night, we'll go next fight. This is the main event. It's got Performance of the Night. You can see that there. Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards. I mean,
Listen, you don't mess with the UK. You mess with UK you get lit up. That's it. So anybody out there that wants it can come get it. You know, we're all like that over here. Anyone that wants a boot, a shin in the head can get it. All right.
After getting beaten up for the rest of the fight.
See, yeah, I mean, well, I'll let you talk about it. This fight first, I think.
Look,
Let me just say one. I'm really happy that Leon Edwards won. I wanted Leon Edwards to win, not mainly because he's from the UK. Two, I prefer his fighting style.
yeah, so do I. Yeah.
Three, I think it just injects a bit of intrigue into the welterweight division, which was honestly becoming stale. Outside of sort of Khamzat Chimaev, there's not really much that you would say was knocking on the door for Usman. So it's kind of given that division a bit more intrigue now. I fully expect there to be a rematch. If there is a rematch, I do expect Usman to win based on what I saw from their first fight. The second fight,
yeah.
I do expect. You know, I think Edwards hit lightning in a bottle. I thought Leon Edwards was good. Round one, that brilliant takedown. First guy to take Usman down. I said I'll let you talk about the fight, and that's it.
No, it's fine. Go.
But yeah, I thought you know, he got that takedown. It wasn't just a takedown where he got him down and held him down for a few seconds. He got full mount and everything. I mean, it was brilliant from Edwards, especially when, you know, we had a discussion before the fight about, is he going to be able to close the gap on that grappling aspect? Now, it just turns out that for the rest of the fight, he didn't, right? He ended up getting... Now, again, I'm not going to say it was a grappling deficit as such. I'm going to say it's a cardio deficit. I just think he started to lose the power to fight off the takedowns.
Salt Lake City.
Yeah, well, he still had to work hard for him, though, right, Usman? And Edwards, to his credit, still continued to get up from him. I don't think he spent full rounds on his back, you know, doing nothing. So he was trying to get back to his feet, but yeah, from what I saw, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, I think in the future there's going to come a time where Edwards goes, damn it, I wish I never won that fight, because he's going to be sitting in the stall between rounds 4 and 5 with Usman over the other side of the cage going, I've got another round against this guy and he's just been grappling me all night. And if I just lost that fight, I wouldn't have to deal with this right now. So I just think that is, they're going to have a rematch, which is annoying for me. I don't
Makes sense though, one-on-one and all that.
I totally
long reigning champ.
Yeah, look, yeah, Usman, long reigning. It's got all the ingredients for him to have a rematch, right? Long reigning champ. Sometimes a long reigning champ, that's enough of an ingredient to get a rematch, even if they get dominated, right? But he's a long reigning champ who's winning the fight clearly, who's a minute away from you know, retaining his belt, and so they don't need any more ingredients than that. He will be getting a rematch, guaranteed, outside of having any injuries or anything like that. He'll be getting a rematch, and. Unless Leon Edwards can find lightning in a bottle again, I just think he's going to get wrestled for 5 rounds. Unfortunately.
Well, maybe, but you've seen the first fight, and you said he did well in that. They won't do it in Salt Lake City. They might do it in England. Wembley is the chat, O2 or Wembley, you know, that kind of chat. Yeah. So he ain't gonna. If there was an issue with cardio, look, Edwards did say that he didn't feel right. He didn't say that he had no cardio. He said his body wasn't reacting and moving like he expected it to, as it was in training. He said, I felt crap, you know, and that's fair enough. Usman had the same things to deal with as he did, right? And there's no doubt that Usman was winning that fight. And there's no doubt that if you want to say the word broken and all that, I think they might have said it in the commentary thing, you know, Leon Edwards looked broken, if you want to call it that. I preferred the way his corner put it when they said to him, stop feeling sorry for yourself. That comment, I just thought, that's perfect. It's a John Maguire when you said, if you can't be bothered, I can't be bothered. And that's what the corner was saying. Listen, stop feeling sorry for yourself. You're in the fight. It ain't over. Can you just go out and fight? Do something. Otherwise, you will at the end of it go, oh, what? You know, I had an opportunity there and I threw it away or whatever. corner, I do think was good. I like the chats they were doing. They were more just motivating their fighter, going, look, we know you can do this. We know you've got all the skills. Why aren't you doing nothing? You know what I mean? What's happening here? So the lightning in a bottle, yeah, it's fair enough. Only takes one shot on all that. It wasn't like Gilbert Burns, who rocked Usman a couple of times, and then you think, well, it's all adding up this. Only a couple more, and he'll do him, right? I don't remember, and you'll have to correct me if you think otherwise, I don't remember Leon Edwards doing anything to Usman that hurt him, made him step back. I don't remember anything making Usman go.
He got the full mount, right? But he didn't, even
Yes.
then, he didn't put it over elbows or anything like that.
Right, no damage, right? No damage. So, and maybe it was Usman's downfall. I don't have to fear this bloke. There's nothing to fear. Although I don't actually think he did anything wrong. People can give it all the chat of one mistake or whatever. I don't see no mistake, right? There's no mistake.
If you take any 3 seconds of fighting and isolate it out of a fight and cross and microanalyze it, you'll find a mistake everywhere you go. Well, you could have gone knocked out of a right hand there.
Oh, yeah. Put your hand back to your face.
You know, there's a counter for every counter, all these kind of things. It doesn't matter what you do. There is always going to be a time where somebody has your, you know, if you go out, if you spend long enough in that cage, you're going to get pinged sooner or later. Someone's going to catch you sweet and perfect and knock you out. And
there's proof of it, right? It was one. That's what I'm saying. It was one shot. He won the fight on one. Points aside, because it didn't go to points, right? Score aside, and we know he would have lost it score-wise. It only takes, or it can only take one shot. Sometimes from a punch, more likely from a kick, right? And that's what Usman ain't no weed chin bloke. I mean, he's a pretty solid powers bloke, and there it was, one shot. Now, what I will say about that kick, let's not worry about the combination of the kick and how it came out and it was hidden and stuff yet. But what I will say particularly about that kick and why I noticed after looking at it, watching it, why that was so effective, right? Because it weren't like Usman was tired and, like I say, he had an accumulation of strikes that made him weak or whatever, anything like that, right? That kick was the sort of kick you want to throw in training that you barely do. Because when you're in training, you're getting excited, you're hitting pads and you're having fun, etc., and you find that you're not really relaxing, or you're hitting too hard, or you're trying too hard, and and that means you're losing all your form and all your technique. It's like, well, slow it down a bit, and concentrate on what you're doing a bit. Your footwork after you've thrown the punch or the kick, then add the speed, add the power in. That kick was like a Frank Mir walkout. It was so natural. It was so smooth. And if you notice, zero grit teeth. He was totally relaxed. And that is why that kick went through that bloke. It went through him and took him out. It was so relaxed, It wasn't...
Obviously, it didn't help that Usman was going into the shot as well.
Of course. But if I just take the form of the kick, as far as I'm concerned, it's especially as it's in a fight, right? In a fight. He's a real perfect kick. I mean, it was a really, really good kick. He did nothing wrong. His range was right. The setup was right. He hit it or whatever. And like I said, he had no gritting, all totally relaxed. He swung it in. His hip snapped at the last minute. It was he drills it. That's the Bruce Lee version. Fear the bloke who practices the same kick, whatever, 10,000 times or whatever. That was really, really good. Now, Usman.
I was worried that he didn't follow up. Obviously, Usman was out cold and stuff like that. But when he hit the mat, there was a split second where I thought, well, he's not finished. But it seemed like Edwards had done a bit of a Saldana. Kind of like it just walked off. It was a walk-off KO in the end. But I did kind of like go, why aren't you following him down? That's good. This is your only chance right now. And there was a split second where I thought,
very confident.
It just so happened that it's almost like Usman, rather than fall into the floor, and some fights it wakes them up and they kind of hit the floor, and then they sort of spring back to life, like the Undertaker. He's kind of hitting the floor, turned him into a block of wood. He hit the floor and then went, like stiff after. So I guess he was. I'm not going to say lucky, but there was a part of me where I went, it's not over, and then obviously it was over when he actually hit the mat. But I
Yeah,
was a little bit
yeah.
worried
And a lot
that
of people would have just gone, and
and I'm glad he didn't, right? Because I don't want to see Usman taking unnecessary punches
no,
to the body and stuff like that. But just from me watching it and wanting Leon to win, I kind of went, he ain't done yet, because you don't really know the full impact of that strike, right? I mean, maybe Edwards would say, well, I did. I knew it landed perfect. I knew it landed flush. I knew it was over. But he can say that now. But, like I say, there's been loads of times where people have, been pinned, gone down to the floor, and then, just come back alive immediately. And so I can't lie that there was a split second where I was a little bit worried. Yeah, that maybe.
And it is weird that he didn't, simply because if he did get back up, he still would have lost the fight.
Yeah, of course he would have. Yeah, 48-47.
Right, that one knockdown wouldn't have mean he won. He was still lost.
He'd have got that round, got round one instead of in 48-47.
Right, so if he did get up, wake up, at least get back to his feet and last rest of that fight, he would have lost. So it seemed risky, right? But don't forget, he's right there. He's looking, But even so, it's not his, as they say, not his job to stop it and walk off. So it seemed a bit risky, yeah. Whether he knew or not doesn't matter, right? It's about the ref going, it's over, not you saying it's over, which is what you've said before on one of the fights we were discussing the other day. But now whether, like I said before with that kick with, what's his name? Buckley, Joaquin Buckley, he did that thing with Sanganay. Yeah. There's lots of things in there, like you say, afterwards you can analyze it and go, well, if he did, the reason he got done by that is because, and it's all true. There was obviously ways to avoid it. And I have to say, this Usman one was interesting because, and talk through it with me. I don't think he did anything wrong because he slipped a punch on the outside, correct or not?
Well, this is
why he didn't slip on the inside. So the dangerous thing you're taught is you can slip. Let's say a punch is coming here. You can slip and dodge and go on the inside, right? And if you're fast enough and you win, you still won. But it's the dangerous version, and the one you get told to. Well, the rules are you would slip as he did this way, right? Right. It just so happens there was a leg coming here. So technically, I actually quite liked his reaction. Now, or what he did to that strike. Now, I do have what I think is the reason it went wrong. There's two reasons. One, he didn't know there was a kick coming. So even if he did the right thing, doesn't matter. There was something following straight afterwards. He didn't get his hand back or move back out of the way in time. But there was nothing wrong from what I could see. Usman, to me, he did what Hufter taught him. That's what it looked like to me. It actually, if anything, looked like an experienced fighter, even though he ended up knocked out from it, right? A punch came. Admittedly, he's I believe they're in opposite stances. Does make a difference because obviously sometimes you will react a certain way to jabs and crosses, and it'll be different because the cross is coming from a different side, right? Even so, he still went to the outside. The only thing I really thought when I looked at it afterwards or whatever is that he slipped a punch and he parried and slipped a punch that had he not done anything wouldn't have touched him. So he moved into what he didn't know was coming, that kick. Had he had not parried and slipped that punch, and he wouldn't have had to block it because it wasn't going to connect, then he would have been able to block that kick because he would have seen it coming and he would have just put his hand up or step back or whatever, or step to one side. It's because he did a good reaction that he ended up getting done because he didn't know something was coming after it. Because to me, he slipped to the outside, and ain't that what you're supposed to do? Didn't he do the right thing, essentially? Now he did. Now look, don't get me wrong. There's a difference between a slip and just a straight parry, isn't there? To slip like that and parry, or to just parry, they are different things. But I just thought he overslipped, obviously, because I said that punch weren't really a danger. But if you look at it from Edwards' point of view, it was never meant to be. Never meant to. He's a righty, right? So that was his jab. He put that about halfway. Then he threw the cross, and then the same side, a kick came up. So I don't know. What do you think of all that? It's bloody interesting.
I was watching it, and to me, Edwards threw a couple of southpaw jabs. He was pumping out his lead hand. He kind of faked with that kick just before the knockout. He faked.
I saw his hips go.
Yeah, he twists his hips a bit. And to me, this is why I disagreed with the commentary. But obviously, I don't really know what I'm talking. I know nothing when it comes to stuff like kicking, like nothing at all. So just from my ignorant viewpoint, I looked at him. He was kind of pumping out his right lead hand, right? And to me, he threw a right lead hand, and this is what led to the knockout. They kept talking about the left hand afterwards, right? And that was, the one you're saying that wouldn't have connected anyway.
The
But
cross.
to me,
Edwards
and you're saying that Usman was going to the outside of that cross. The
Yeah.
reason why I looked at it and I disagreed with that is because he was pumping out that lead hand, and Usman was moving this way. He wasn't moving to the outside.
Should have moved this way.
Yeah,
you should have moved this way, right?
Yeah, he was moving that way. So he was throwing out that right hand. Now, to me, this left hand was just used as a counterbalance for his kick, for his left kick. It wasn't really a strike. He didn't throw that left hand with any intent of landing or throwing at his face. To me, he was throwing this right hand. He got Usman to move to Usman's right. So Usman moved into his kick. So he was pumping out that right hand. And then he kind of put out the left hand as a counterbalance to bang, throw that left kick at the same time. He kind of threw it at the same time as that left hand came out. Okay. And because Usman saw that left hand come out, if you like, the balancing hand, he kind of reached for that hand. You see him kind of go and parry that hand, and that left the room for the kick to land. But to me, that wasn't a punch. That's what Rogan kept saying, is that the left hand was a punch, and basically he distracted him with that.
Yeah, okay.
But I personally don't think that left hand was a punch. I think it was more a balance for the kick. The right hand is what was shifted Usman into that kick. That he kind of, like I say, was feinting with that right hand and forced Usman to his right hand side into the kick.
Okay, right.
So that's what I saw, but I don't know anything about kicking, right?
Yeah, okay, right. So normally the counterbalance to a kick, there's obviously loads of schools of thought to it, is that the kick goes out and your same side hand goes back to counterbalance because you've got a limb this way and a limb that way. There are schools of thought that will say you put, like what he did, that you put your hand out at the same time, because if you don't and you do a classic, say, taekwondo counterbalance and you swing your arm back to counterbalance, you're now open, right? And you're going to get potentially hit. And the way to avoid that and not to get hit is to shoulder roll the kick, so you're out of range of any counter punch, right? It's obviously easy all in training, in it, as we always say. It's easier said than done. So I do think it was real. Now, there's a couple of reasons I think that was a punch. Is because he said it himself. Maybe he's saying it after the effect, but he says,
said it, I'm going to take his word for it over mine. So
it's not about the word, though, is it? Because you're only going off of what you're seeing, and he can now, of course, say, well, yeah, I drill that all the time, and it's this move. What he's saying is it's a cross head kick combo, right? And I do believe him. And another thing he said, which alludes to that he's chatting openly about it, right? Because it's, I wouldn't say, I'd necessarily wouldn't reveal these techniques, but they do. He said he tried it with Bilal Muhammad, but unfortunately his fingers got him in the face. He said, but it's the same move that I did there, but this time my fingers were open and I scratched his eyes out before finishing it. He said, but I tried exactly the same thing with him. That don't mean that what you're saying about these southpaw jabs that he was trying to make him move. And I do agree that possibly that Usman, because he is orthodox, isn't he?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
I thought they were opposite stances. Yeah, that he would react differently to.
Well, Leon was switching a fair bit in the fight, right? He was
yeah,
a fair bit.
But at that point, I remember.
If you want to take it from the real basic viewpoint, right? As they always say, you have the battle for foot position. If you have a southpaw and orthodox, you're supposed to be trying to get your foot to the outside of the opponent's lead foot. Well, Usman was going the wrong way for that. So if Usman wanted his lead foot outside, that's obviously to clear the pathway for your backhand, right? But Usman, when that combination landed, he was going the wrong way. He was moving his feet inside Leon Edwards' foot. Right? He was moving to the right. He was moving to Leon Edwards' power hand. Well, it just happened to be his power leg.
But
right?
to the outside of the power hand.
He should have been going the other way. But again, it's one of these things that you can microanalyze any split second of a fight and go, well, you shouldn't be doing that. So
yeah, of course, yeah, and this is in the moment, right? But to me, as far as I'm aware, most of the time I'd be told to go to the outside of the hand, power or not. So to me, he did go the right way, because why would he have gone on the inside of that? Isn't that more dangerous to be on the
No,
inside?
so if Edwards is fighting in a southpaw a southpaw fighter, not always, because some fighters work right. I won't go into that, but so his jab is his. Let's just say he's weaker strike, right? It doesn't contain as much power. His jab is the right hand. So in order to avoid his power hand, which is his backhand, you want to constantly be moving this way. You want to be moving to
Sure.
his outside of his lead foot. When he got knocked out, he wasn't. He was moving into the power
Yeah.
side,
Okay.
the left hand and the left leg. So if you want to look at it from that point of view, you can go, well, he should have been moving to the outside anyway. That's why I'm saying that, to me, it was the fake jabs that forced Usman to, rather than go the way he should have been going, it forced him to go the opposite way into the power shot.
But there's nothing wrong with saying that.
Basically saying.
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with saying that, because the actual full combo is jab, cross, rear kick. There is a jab first. As you saw, he just barely put it out there, right? But this is the one that hides, that that covers up the kick is coming or whatever, right? And like you say, most people don't have that in the way when a kick is coming. Whitaker's another one who's really good at that move, by the way, and can do it way speeds. He's brilliant at it, because they've already used it to counterbalance and thrown it back, which means you clearly see that line of sight. It was covered up with a fist. But what I'm saying is, if it's just normal orthodox to orthodox, so left lead to left lead, you would catch a jab and, let's just say, for example, parry a cross. And when you parried a cross, I'm on the outside of the cross, right, as a standard thing. So I'm saying he still went to the outside of a cross, because Leon Edwards.
I know what you're saying. If that was a backhand from Leon Edwards, then yeah, he outside sipped it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm only asking.
Obviously, he just went into a leg that he probably didn't expect to be following straight after.
It seems to me that he was good. I actually kind of rated Usman and went, wicked, man. You parried it and you slipped it. I actually quite liked it. Ended up with a kick in his head, but I actually thought it made me think he was good and trained. I know he is trained, but you know what I mean? We sometimes say he's a bit run of the mill, he wrestles and he strikes, and we said he's done wicked improvements. But to me, it actually showed that he was good, very reactive to those punches. It just turns out that the leg is longer than the hand, etc., and that wouldn't have hit him, that hand. If he didn't react to that hand, that wouldn't have hit him, he wouldn't have got done. But he never knew a kick was coming. This is, like you say, I hate chatting about this stuff. I kind of, like you, didn't really want to chat about it. I didn't really want to.
Yeah, same here, because it's like you're microanalyzing someone who's a billion times better at something than you. And
right.
The mistake you made is, and it's not a mistake, because obviously it is a mistake, because it ended up getting his head booted off for it, right? But he's probably done that a billion times before with no problem. And it's not like something that they can go, if they go back into the gym, there's still going to be times where he does something like that. And there are times where, he will do something like that and it will be rewarded. He'll do that and he'll end up, I don't know, circling off the cage, and everyone will go, oh, look at the footwork of Usman. Look at the evasive head work of Usman. Isn't he brilliant? It just so happened this time there was a shin waiting for him around the corner.
Yeah, it was good.
And honestly, just to coin that phrase, it's SHIT happens. Stuff happens.
Right.
Yeah, that stuff happens, right? And they're in a dangerous sport with other highly trained guys, and there is no hard and fast solution to victory. There is no way of just going, if you fight like this, you will never get done. Everyone gets done eventually. Every technique, every style, every counter has a counter. And so you can say, oh, he should have moved to his outside. Yeah, maybe he should have moved to his outside. That's fine. But to say it's like a mistake or ongoing thing, listen, he won what, 23 minutes of that fight?
Exactly.
It's still the same fight with the same method, same techniques. It's just, like I say, he ended up getting a boot in the head for it.
So many things.
If they do rematch, do you see Leon Edwards getting the confidence from this, not having the outfighting altitude maybe benefiting him? I do think he seems like someone where confidence will raise him to another level to a degree.
Yeah, definitely.
Because he seems like quite quiet, humble, sort of shy, introverted guy. And so maybe this will, really sort of give him that self-belief. But do you see, if they had a rematch, do you see Edwards landing something again? Because let's be honest, I don't see Edwards. If those guys fight to a decision 10 times, I expect Usman to get the decision 10 times. So do you see Edwards getting another finish on Usman? Because I don't think I do. I think Usman will be extra defensive and extra clingy, let's say, if they do.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't need to be defensive as in, like you say, running away. He'll do the opposite, right? He'll just go in and stay in. As a matter of fact, I've not finished microanalyzing that sequence.
Well, I thought we said we don't like doing it.
I don't like doing it, right? But I thought of another one, right? So, obviously, the worst thing for him was when he slipped. And slipping means, like you say, he put his head there. Added, even if he had just done something like he parried and slipped, right? He did a double thing. If he'd have just, say, parried and stepped at the same time out that way, he would have taken a load more power off that kick. This would have stayed up. He might have taken some of the kick there, and he would have taken some of the power off that kick because that kick came there and all the way through. Added done one of those versions of the parries where you parry and you step out a little. He would have gone into that kick and taken off some of the sting. This is for him and Hooft to go and have a chat about. But no matter what they do when they go back and have a chat, you're never gonna guarantee that I'm never gonna get done by that again.
Yeah, you can't eliminate risk in a fight. It's that simple. You can't eliminate.
And it's 5 rounds in.
Can't eliminate risk. And yet, of course, they can sit there and go, man, if you didn't go to that side, if you went to outside his lead foot, which is the conventional, sort of thing that you're told when you fight someone in an opposite stance, they'll go, you wouldn't have got done. It's like, yeah, that's fine, but I'm not being funny. If Hoof did say that to me, I'd go, I'm not being funny, Hoof, though, but when I'm in there for 25 minutes, there are going to be times where I do go the wrong way, so to speak. It's just the way it is.
I forgot it was a cross. To me, it's the jabs. Jabs come from that side. I forgot it was a cross. So, you can say whatever he wants. They didn't have a quick look at his feet and go, right, hang on, I've got time to have a look at this. What's coming? Oh, yeah. Right. It's going to...
Yeah, a lot of these things, they happen in a split second. They're preemptive. It's very rare that you see a strike and go, right, now what I'll do is I'll slip that one. You're not making conscious decisions. It's muscle memory. It's natural reactions. And he just, like I say, if that leg kick didn't follow, head kick didn't follow, I'd say it'd have circled out and everyone would be going, oh my God, see, he's not just a grappler. It is just, if you have a fight, you can't not get hit. And he just got hit with the home run. That's it. Look, like I say, I mean, now I don't know if you have done microanalyzing, but I feel like you're not. I hope you are. But if they did rematch, like I say, do you see him landing that strike again? I mean, he's only landed one killer strike in 24, 39 minutes of action. Do you think you can do it again? And that's the last time I'm going to ask that question. If you dodge it again, forget it.
I'm not going to dodge the question because I remember the question's been asked, but I'm not done microanalyzing that sequence. No, I am. Look, if we go off all of Edwards' fights that we can see or in recent memory, as you say, he ain't been banging gizzards out, has he? Or has he?
He hasn't.
Been knocking...
No, I think he's only got one KO victory. If you remember before, when they were showing the highlights before, the highlight reels before the fight, I think it was Peter Sabata or someone like that he knocked out. I'm really guessing that, but there's only one knockout. The rest is just sort of clips of him wobbling people and stuff like that. I mean, if we go to his UFC career, it's decision, KO. Seth Brzezinski. That is basically the same as Peter Sabata. Then it's decision, submission, decision, TKO against Sabata. So I was right.
You're right. Yeah, brilliant. Real.
Decision, no contest, decision, and then obviously the KO. So yeah, mostly.
Right, but now he's banged out the best.
The man, yeah. So I mean,
don't matter, right?
Again, if you were an odds maker, you would never have given good odds on that, right? It's like this is a guy who
not looking at that.
Very rarely gets stoppage victories against a guy who doesn't get stopped. Certainly not with punches and kicks. And he goes and
if you Leon Edwards, the answer to the question is yes, because I've already done it. I've done it against the best bloke. On my way up, I might not have done it, but when it counted, I done it. And you're right. I think that will give him the confidence to go, well, look, he ain't the, what do they call him now? Boogeyman. I've not only hurt him, it only took me one shot. I had no accumulation here. I took one shot to do him. So of course I know I've got the power. I think it will give him massive confidence. If he didn't win that fight, the time would have run out. And in hindsight, you could easily go, well, you've seen it. I ran out of time to win that fight. Because Usman never stopped me, he never wobbled me, he never done me. I was getting deflated and, defeated. But, you know what I mean? So I think he'll have massive confidence to go, well, it might take me half hour, which means I'll lose the fight. But within 25 minutes, I know I can do it because I've only got it in once. So I think he'll be well confident in the next fight. I really do. Also, he's reached the mountain. He's done it. He's done the goal. If he loses, he loses. But he's got it. So I know he wants to keep it, but he has done it, right? So if he loses it, he loses it. It is what it is. But I don't know whether I do agree with you though. It's lightning in a bottle, but that's the whole point. That's why there's so many different weapons. He could have got him down and done an E-bar. No odds would have said it, but I don't know. I mean, that's why that fight was brilliant, right? I mean, it ended up being a brilliant fight because it was interesting.
It was. He said something in the after interview, not just "Can you see me now?" Because obviously he did say that about 500 times.
He did like that comment, yeah.
Yeah.
What about now? How about now?
Yeah. Can you see me now?
Yeah.
But there was one thing he said where I actually forgot, and I can remember the bit before the bit I liked. He basically said something like, "The belt doesn't belong to anyone," and I really I really like that saying. So I was like, you know what? That is true. It doesn't belong to anyone. It's on loan to everyone. And I loved that attitude. I loved that comment, and it was brilliant. And I mean, I would have to say Bisping is always going to have that because he was the first UK guy to win a belt. He's always going to have that accolade, so to speak. But let's be honest.
Edwards has an answer for that. You obviously don't know it.
Why am I analysed it? Go on.
Right. He did say Bisping was the first. He's agreed it, and that Bisping done it first. I know that. But Bisping did it while living and training in the States. And I specifically stayed in England to prove that you don't need to do that.
Amazing.
Isn't it brilliant? Isn't it? He said, I've proved it. I've stayed here. I've stuck it out and I've proved that you can do it while being proper England, the training and everything.
Brilliant.
Look, you know what business is like. He's probably going to go, for flip's sake, he's probably going to get the ump with that. I liked it. He took it as this is my personal journey, and this is why I think mine is different. He didn't say Bisping's crap, he cheated. He didn't. He said, no, he done it, but I did it like this.
Yeah, amazing. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. And what I was going to say as well is he beat the pound for pound number one. I know we hate pound for pound, and it means literally F all, because now Leon Edwards is going to be above Kamaru Usman in pound for pound. It's like they're 1-1. I mean, the pound for pound thing is honestly it's just a load of garbage, right? Just for people to talk.
Yeah, because record-wise and on paper, Usman is still better.
Of course, yeah. I mean, if they were going to fight tomorrow, who would be the favourite? I guarantee you it would be Usman. I guarantee it.
But even without anything coming up, just look at the resume and who he's done, and having the pressure of being a champ and all 5-round fights and all the ingredients you throw in. Like I say, on paper, not for real in a cage, he's better, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, look, Usman is still
at the moment.
Yeah,
that's how you get your pound for pound. You don't get it through winning the belt.
You don't get it through winning one fight. You don't get it for winning one fight. And,
you don't.
Edwards would have to, defend the belt 3 or 4 times to usurp Usman or some of the other pound for pound guys.
Anderson Silva kept his record. Usman, if he won that fight, he would have done the record.
That's right. Yeah. But I think what I would say is Edwards, when he won it, he beat, even though I know it's a garbage list and it means nothing, he beat the pound for pound number one in the world. Widely regarded.
Yeah, he didn't just beat the current champ.
He didn't just sort of, no disrespect to him, but he didn't just beat Glover or Blachowicz or someone who wasn't an established champion. This is a guy who was going for the record of the longest winning streak and stuff like that. This is a real. To me, it would have been like Ricky Hatton if he did beat Floyd Mayweather. It would have been like that. It wouldn't have been just Ricky Hatton beating, just a random fighter, I can't think of one off the top of my head, but a random fighter for a belt. It wouldn't have been that. It would have been beating the man. Edwards beat the man. That's it. He beat the man.
No doubt.
That is better than what Bisping did. Not diminishing Bisping's achievement. He was the first guy ever and all that. But the truth is, he did stab us in the back. He did go to America. He is a turncoat. Edwards is Ingers. He stayed in Ingers. He beat the pound-for-pound #1. Edwards is the man. Move over, business. Give up your podcast. No one's interested anymore. Just get lost. You're on TV too much now anyway. Sick and tired of seeing. I saw him the other day looking all amazing with massive muscles in a vest on the back of a horse. And I'm like, well, I'm just seeing this guy everywhere now. So make way. Edwards is the man.
Make way for Edwards, yeah. But to clarify your point, and it's a very interesting one because you didn't go mad on it, but it's true. Biz has beat Rockhold. I don't know how long Rockhold had held that belt. I can't remember who he done.
It was his first defense, wasn't it? He just beat Weidman, and then he fought.
Was he get the belt off Weidman?
Somebody else pulled out. Yeah, the Bisping was a late replacement, wasn't it? Right.
That's not to say it one of the wicked achievements. One of my favourite moments ever in the whole sport is Bisping doing Rockhold, and we were just to let you know, in the octagon, by the way, all of it. That's amazing. So I love it, but Leon Edwards has just done Usman, and we've seen what Usman's had before him in front of him, and all of them have been title defenses. And there's no need to compare anyway. But
of course not. No, it's just
people will, and they did, and that was his answer to it. As a matter of fact, he's the one who brought it up. He said, English bloke, blah blah blah. I know Bisping done it first, but and he didn't even use your comments of the person that he beat to get the belt. And I do think that is.
If he wants to give me a call and ask if he can use it,
he'll be watching this anyway. He'll be watching this anyway, so he'll just take
it. You can borrow it then, Leon. No worries.
Right, there you go. Yeah, well, of course, that's what this is for. So look, we're just having a chat here. Apologies, no one watches it to get offended or get annoyed. We ain't fighters. We know all that. We're having a chat about what we've seen. Just don't start crying about it. You know what I mean, we know we don't know what we're talking about. We're just going over what we see, and what we see is, and I think Usman, to me, technically, like you said at other times, would be applauded for the way he dealt with that punch. Because to me, it was good. He did something right. A lot of people just stand there and take it in the face or whatever. Don't move the red. Don't do this and that. Oh, he was brilliant. Ain't his fault that a boot came after it, is it? You know what I mean? So that's it. Is that the end of the chat?
Yeah, I've had enough.
All right. I'll put his shot up again, just so that we can remember what we're having a chat about.
Yeah.
The belt.
I was going to say, you need to move that belt over to the other side.
I will just quickly say, so rematch is the talk of the town, and totally understandable, as we've said. And I know we don't do gambling. I think we maybe should start putting a little thing on to make it fun. As long as we do this regular, we should. You'd put the money on, if you did gamble, you'd put it on Usman, yeah? Remember why? I thought Anderson Silva, the second fight, I was like, Silva's going to come out and blaze him this time. And whatever it was, 11, 12 months later, he got done again.
Yeah, they'll come up with, I think they've come up with an analysis before. The person who wins the first fight, 70% of the time wins the second fight as well. Something like that. But I would say my heart would obviously back Leon, but my head would back Usman still.
Well, we've just had a recent one.
If the fight was 50-50 going into that fifth round, and then Edwards landed that head kick, my thoughts would be different. But to me, Usman was still, I'm not going to say dominant, because he did lose that first round, right? He definitely lost that first round, easy as well. Edwards got a brilliant takedown and cemented the position. But yeah, it was heading for 49-46.
Easy as well, yeah.
So, I can't.
But it might be, we'll see. It might be the Salt Lake. Get it on his own turf with freezing cold Ingers.
That's it, yeah.
See if that helps.
Yeah. What is it? 40,000 drunk English red-faced fellas singing Sweet Caroline and all that sort of stuff.
Can't go wrong, can you?
Yeah, come and face that, Usman. But yeah. Good. I'm happy for Edwards.
Well, I'm sure he's happy that you're happy.
Yeah, well,
we're support the fans. What's wrong with that?
It's
support the fans. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, listen. When I can't deny that just very very quickly, because we have finished with this. There was one point, I think it was like in round 4 or something, where where he kind of disengaged with Usman. Right? He'd been going for a takedown. He'd managed to like fight him off, and then he just stood there near the cage, and Usman just ran straight back into him, grabbed him, and put him on his back. And I went, I was like, you got done there because you were, I don't want to say lazy, right? He's probably fatigued and all these things. So I hate judging these guys in that way. But I was like, you got done there because you were lazy. I said, all you had to do was after you fought him off, take 2 side steps out, back into the center of the cage. Don't leave yourself, up against the cage or in front of him. And I can't deny I was getting a bit frustrated, a bit like his corner. I was getting a bit frustrated. I was like, let your hands go, throw some jabs, give him something to be worried about.
He's going to pin you up against the fence regardless, right?
Exactly. So you might as well give him a problem, like try and stop him doing it, right, by knocking him out on the way in. And so I was feeling the emotion from that corner as well, like, come on, like, let your hands go. You're a really good striker. And honestly, I didn't see it that fight. He didn't really throw. He didn't show much. Don't use his grappling in the first round. And to me, he showed a lot of good grappling. Like I say, he got to his feet loads, fought off loads of takedowns against a real rock hard grappler. I didn't see much in the way of striking at all. And it was only until he landed that boot that I went, there it is. But before that, I was like, where's your striking? I saw the wicked video of him doing that elbow, head kick, right, on the pads and stuff. And I was like, where's that stuff? Where is it? Throw it. And when he did, look what happened. So I'm not saying that he threw it because of my energy channeling it into him and that the belt is partly mine and that I inspired that kick, but maybe I did.
Well, I never even thought of that until you brought it up.
Possible, isn't it?
It is. Right, well, thanks for doing the chat.
Thank you. Rule Britannia and all that.
Ooh.
Well, he did win, didn't he? You can't deny
it. He did. So, yeah, there you go. That's the chat for UFC 278, Usman versus Edwards card. See you later.
What is that? Is that the goodbye?
Think of a better one then.
Oh, no, I can't. You've just sucked the energy out of the room. See you later.
See you in a bit.
Yeah.